Hello everyone. Welcome to the Predators commentary, a commentary of my review of Predators. If you haven't seen it already, then stop. It's just going to be playing in the background, and it's going to be ruined because I'm talking over it. Now, you might notice that some very nice artwork for the opening of this. Unfortunately, even though my artist wasn't charging me much at all, they were strapped for time, and right now I'm strapped for cash, so we ended up
Hello, Worldwide
sort of just
Shado,
not working together anymore after a while. Nothing officially ended, and I could call her up and try and see if I could get some more work done, but right now I'm broke and I don't know. They're quite a perfectionist on things, and some of the art they did for me, it never made it, and I didn't even get to see it because they were dissatisfied with it. But, oh well.
Oh, fuck! Well, Spy Kids aside,
yeah,
I do like most of
not
those
the
other
biggest
works,
fan of Spy Kids, as you might have told from that little bit there. I understand that there are fans of that series, but yeah, I'm not one of them.
So let's see just how well he pulled it off in this, my most requested review yet. Well, okay, there are 5 requests.
The requests. I'm getting a lot of requests now, and a lot of them I really want to do, and I just don't have the money to go out and buy every movie that people want me to review, and I don't have the. I really don't want to torrent them.
Dripping with testosterone as the pianist.
Oh yeah, one thing when I was researching The Pianist that didn't really fit in this joke too well. If you do know the movie, it's actually a lot more action-oriented than you would guess from that picture or the title. I was trying to find clips from it, and all the time it was gunfire and explosions, so yeah, it actually makes a little more sense than I let on in the review, so that was kind of shitty of me for not mentioning. This was back when I was very, very worried about whether or not I was going to be pulling off enough jokes, but this was after I decided to not force jokes, because I was already looking back at the Soldier review like, no, this isn't worth watching twice. The jokes aren't as good as they should have been. Too many were just forced into too many spots, and that whole review was way too long, and I wanted to avoid that. So I'm glad that I didn't do Predators immediately after the Alien Predator Total Destruction Collection, because then I would have been doing it at the time I was instead doing the Soldier review. And if I did the Predators review at the quality I did the Soldier review, it would be something I highly regret, and being Predators, it would be one of my more watched videos, and that's not the best way to build your ego, I think. But yeah, also, it's not coming up yet in the video, but one thing that I did do when I was getting ready to do this review was I had the idea for actually splicing in some voice clips from Guru Larry. I originally had the inspiration at a few minor points, but eventually during the writing and editing of the review, I'd end up using his voice in many more places than I was expecting, and in many different ways. But what I actually did before setting out to write the review is I sent a message to Guru Larry asking his permission, and as you might have guessed in the outro to this review, he did actually agree to it, and he told me to send him the link after I was done, and he added to his favorites, and I did, and I don't think he ever did, but and I'd send him a few other messages, and I don't know if he ever got them, but nevertheless, most people here seem to really enjoy the way that I used Larry's voice, so I hope he was okay with it, if he ever heard it.
Shows Royce that flat leaves somehow become curved when using it as a makeshift compass, and Royce mentions that the sun also is acting peculiarly.
Yeah, the interesting thing with the most of the backgrounds in this movie, they were actually done in Texas, where, of course, I am now and was at the time I was writing this review, and it was rather interesting bit of research that I kind of left out. A lot of times I find out many interesting things about the movies that I'm reviewing that don't work for jokes or what have you, but looking back, I keep thinking, I could have done it like this, I could have done it like that, and I keep wondering why I left more information out than I had. One thing I really like doing in my reviews is being informative. I mean, I enjoy making jokes, obviously, but I like to express what's going on, and if I do so damn much research on every movie I review, I may as well show it a little.
By the end, Dutch did set up quite a few more
by himself, this is a lot harder to edit here when I'm trying to get specific scenes out of specific movies somewhat out of order. That's a lot harder to have the time to edit than to just have the more linear style of review going from scene to scene and commenting on said scenes. Though, despite what a lot of people say about that scene in particular that we just saw, about how the moons perhaps weren't in their specific orbit yet, or they were blocked by clouds, or what have you, I still find it hard to believe that the characters would just not notice so many planets in the sky the first time around.
I've noticed big fucking rocks floating around in the sky. Continuing,
and this review also was a lot less angry, which I think really helps, because I understand the allure of the angry reviewer, but I don't think that that's necessary, and again, it should not be forced, and if a movie does not make me angry, then I shouldn't pretend that I'm angry. And some reviews I look at and I'm a little concerned about, am I being too much of an angry reviewer here? Am I losing my focus and just swearing and cursing and flailing my arms and what have you? There's, of course, a lot of anger in Requiem, but looking back, I still look at that, I see how ridiculously angry I am during that review, and then I think to myself, wait, it was Requiem. Of course I was angry. It was Requiem. Why wouldn't I be angry? Some others I got particularly angry, and I was a little concerned about how that would be portrayed at the end of the day. The was it Battle for the Planet of the Apes or Conquest for the Planet of the Apes? I always get the two mixed up title-wise. I know which order they go in the series. I guess Conquest, because...
Wait! Not only is this a huge leap to make based on what little information you have...
Was that the last? I don't freaking... The fifth Planet of the Apes movie. Let's just say it that way. My review of that was extrememely angry, and I look back at it and I was very concerned during the editing process of screaming here, screaming there. Was I really being honest, or was I just playing it up? And when I got to the end of it, it was like, okay, I was being legitimately angry at specific things, and it was, at the end of the day, fair for my opinion, so that made me feel better there. And
okay, I just want to put this out there, but this is
I still...
There's no way that Shado let the Predators even get one hit on him, let alone capture him.
Yeah, that's a little played-up anger there, but that's so over the top, and over such a silly thing. It's obviously in jest, so, yeah. This was a very difficult movie for me to review early on, because I wasn't so good at finding the humor in many different situations quite yet, and figuring out how to express it in a review. And that's one of the main reasons I was thinking of using Larry's voice early on, was because it would provide something humorous. And I am very happy that I made that decision, because looking at this review again towards the end, I have a severe lack of jokes coming from me, and all of the humor is held up by the audio clips of Larry. So,
It's highly disorienting.
Yeah, that was a
but
good decision on my part to
the
keep
Preds
me
do
from
happen to be
screwing this
close,
review
so
up.
That doesn't help. Falling down
Yes,
a cliff, they
that
all
might
manage
sound
to
kind of
reenact the scene
strange
from
to
Predator
someone
1.
who doesn't understand the comedic review style to say that I needed to patch in audio clips of someone else in a humorous fashion in order for a review to work. Of course.
Us to the big reveal of this movie's
But,
Predators.
yeah, the introduction of the Predators, and of course, none of them had names
Okay, I do know
except
that
for the more
ever
recent
since
movies
AVP,
in the
all
credits.
the Predators in all of these
And
movies have had
because
names.
they were never
But
named in
they
the
never bothered telling
movies
us the names
in
until
the
end
actual
credits,
film
so that's
portion,
why I've still been referring to them
I
as
never
the Predator, because as far
brought
as
it
the
up,
actual
and
film
so I
told us,
come up
they
with
were just
the names
Predator.
for the other
And
Predators
this movie's
here,
no different.
which
We don't learn the names
Larry,
of
of
these
course,
Predators
was
until the end
obviously
credits,
planned
so
if you've been listening
fine.
to this commentary this long.
Oh, you want me to refer to
But,
them by name? Okay,
beyond that,
fine. But
the
I'm not
others
gonna give
were...
them the names from the movie.
Well, actually, it's
I'm going to give them my own names.
kind of funny because I was just
This
naming
one over
them
here can be Birdie,
sort of rhyming with Larry.
and
You
this
got
one
Birdie
is
and Tusky, but that's actually not too
and
far
Big
off
Lug
from
in the
their
back
actual
can
names. You
be
got Falconer and Tracker,
Larry.
and there's Berserker, and so they're all rhyming names anyway.
That should take
And
care of it.
this here, where I
and the
bring
one
up
back at the
the
camp.
last one, a lot of people seem to
Why?
not get that
After they
joke.
reach safety,
So you got
Isabel has
Birdie,
some words for
Tusky,
Royce.
Larry, and Clyde. And yeah, that is a reference to Pac-Man, if you didn't catch it. Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. Yeah, this scene here, editing this, it was also one thing I was trying to do. One other thing I learned from the Soldier review was trying to prevent clips from the movie of going on far too long. And a lot of times, the points I want to show to express how a scene flows actually are further apart than I would like, and it would require showing too much of the clip at once and having that drag on and trying to keep the flow right. I actually have to chop up scenes and sort of re-edit them to show just the gist of what's happening. So it's not exactly how it flows in the movie, but it is what happens in a manner of speaking. So also, it's I don't like showing the whole thing anyway. I leave out portions of the movie nonetheless, simply because it's a review. It's not a replacement for the movie. I just want to give my opinion on the major points and on the things that are worth talking about. So you may as well just leave enough reason for someone to go out and buy the film if they feel they need to, and if it's not something that they're interested in anyway, then there's no reason to show every single point whether or not it affects the major plot points.
These guys are supposed to be.
And, oh yeah, another thing I did not bring up in this review that I found out through the research is that Lawrence Fishburne's scenes were, I think it was said that they recorded all of the scenes with him in it in about 2 days. So, yeah, that's another reason why he's not in the movie quite so much, is because they brought him in, they paid him for 2 days' work, and they let him go.
Wait, what about their elaborate
That's
plan
a
to catch
nice
and
way
kill
to
the
keep
predators?
the budget in check, I guess.
They don't even
I
mention
don't know how much he was asking, but
So he leads
oh
to
well,
some
there you have it.
that he has been using as a safe
So I
house. Soon
really
enough,
don't
it
know
becomes
about
evident
this
that in
ship
his time
or
on this planet,
fortress or
he's
wherever
become
the
at
hell, I
least
think
a
ship,
little
but
schizophrenic.
I'm just looking at this now and thinking to myself, how did that ship get there? And this very large vessel, obviously of Predator origin, based on the comparing it to the ship from Predator 2, but it's absolutely massive and in ruin and is safe from predators. They never come down there or figure anyone decides to take the fortress to hold up in for some reason.
Done fast.
Yeah, this little skit here really could have been shorter. And yeah, I should have done another take on that anyway. Just part of the time is just me trying to get that gum out and me dropping it.
That's genius! genius! Royce
But
does
still,
learn from him, though, that the predators have a ship nearby, and figures that's the best
the
way
punchline
out.
works, I think.
I wouldn't know how to fly it.
Just looking back, this is a review that, looking back on, doesn't make me cringe as
Nolan
much
leaves him to
as
relax and feed.
the Predator 2 review in the editing department, at least. There are some points that I simply couldn't help. Like, if you notice at certain points in this review...
No, Nikolai! No!
Yeah, if you notice, I'm still chewing the gum there. It was actually some pretty damn good gum.
You know what that means, don't you? Oh, come on,
Though it
I like
did
your
mess with
character.
my lines in a
Damn
few
it.
areas, which was
Before
frustrating,
long, their
but
relaxing time is
nevertheless,
rudely interrupted by a sudden plume of
double
smoke.
mint is some
It
tasty
doesn't take
gum.
much to figure out that Nolan led
But
them in there
yeah,
to
there are a
trap
few
and kill
points,
them all.
a few frames in the review showing the movie where it just has some
As they panic, trying to figure out what to do,
strange
Royce takes
green
action.
blocks just appear over things. I think that happened in the Jeepers Creepers and Jeepers Creepers 2 reviews as well. That's just, I think that's some kind of problem with my video card when it goes to process, because I do have some problems with my video card. I'm not entirely sure what. I guess I won't get too deep into hypothesis on that. But the point is, there are these graphical glitches they cause on my desktop, and they're very similar to those frames, except on my desktop it's a hell of a lot smaller. And I think that because...
Go fuck yourself.
Not
Yeah, I know
Larry
that was
there,
Tusky, not Larry,
but the character that was Tracker or
Soon
Tusky.
enough, the Preds have found the room
So-
and begin breaking the panel down.
Yeah. Cheating with the voice, but figured it was a good joke. But at least
They
I
don't
fessed
enter,
up to it
however,
after
and
that
leave
on
the group
camera.
to move out on their own.
But yeah, the graphical
Now,
glitches on my
maybe
video
that's
card,
because they
the
want to
video
enjoy the
card
puns.
is used directly
Or
for
maybe it's
assisting
because they're not
processing of a
stupid like
video in
Royce thinks and
Cyberlink
won't
Power
enter a choke
Director,
point with half
which
a
is
dozen
what
armed
I
men ready to
have,
shoot them
so
to death.
I'm relatively
So as they
certain that
escape,
that's the
Dr.
culprit
Edwin
for
spins
the
around and gets
green
himself lost to the
splotches at
corridors.
random.
Fortunately,
Really
when
wish I
everyone was
could
looting weapons
help
and
those,
explosives,
but
he got
best
some
I can do is, if I see them on the video
wares.
feed, try and cut them out
So
and
he's
not
able to
use
see
those
that, yes,
clips.
he is very,
Before,
very
I was
screwed.
just hoping that they wouldn't show up in the final
Maybe
product, and
Nikolai won't be the
they
next
did.
guy.
So,
Okay.
oh well. Sorry, I got things kicking around here. But
As
I'm
they
too
move
far
to
into
escape,
this
Tusky
this
drops Nikolai
commentary
with
to
a
stop
plasma
now.
cast
So.
and goes in for the trophy.
Now, great, now I lost my train of thought thanks to that
Loosely
big banging
translated,
thing.
you're one ugly motherfucker. Setting off the
It would have
explosives
been
strapped upon
fun
himself,
to use a
Nikolai
clip
takes
of
Tusky with
Larry's
him,
voice
which our
there,
favorite
but
Khan is very happy with.
it wasn't really necessary, especially because we get to use another one right now.
Full hardcore.
Larry doesn't appreciate his arrogance and checks one more character off the roster.
Hello. Hello. Like so. It's good, clean, wholesome family fun.
As a remaining
Yeah,
four
in
try
case
to
you're
escape,
wondering
Brody
which
shows off his enhanced
videos
vision mode
I
to
use
highlight
clips
tracks.
of Larry,
how the hell does that work?
generally it was all from
Continuing
the
on, they reach
Boggle
a grassy
Flash
clearing.
review.
Hanzo decides he's tired of running and
That
stands
was
his ground.
used quite a few
shit.
times
The Yakuza
by
took a katana?
many fans of Guru
This
Larry
super
for
badass disciplined
the,
fighter is
for
going to take
a,
on a
sort of
super predator
music
with a katana?
video.
Awesome,
They'd
I
use
can't
the
wait!
part and
Wait.
just
Wait,
to
wait,
it
wait,
to
wait, just
a,
one damn minute, Predator
different
movie. I'm not
beat.
falling for this one again.
I would highly recommend listening to
Predator,
Boggle
Billy
Flash
stopped with
Man.
his
That
knife to
was
fight the
absolutely
Predator on the
awesome.
log bridge and was killed
But,
off-screen with no fight
aside
shown.
from that, there was
In
also
Predator
his
2,
unboxing
King Willie stood
of
his ground
the
to fight the
special
Predator with a
edition
sword,
of Sonic
and we didn't even get to see
Generations,
jack shit of
which
that fight
from
either.
that I only
Now,
used
Hanzo
one
is
clip,
standing
and
his
that was the
ground,
clip
and the cuts
on
are shot
Tusky
just like
anyway.
Predator
So.
1, and I'm gonna get excited.
Oh, well.
And the next thing I know, he's gonna be dead, and I didn't even get
And
to see
I
the
could
fight.
go
So,
into
no,
how
sorry,
this
Predators,
joke
I'm not
just
gonna fall
built
for this
itself
one
up,
again.
because I really did not know that there eventually would be a fight between human and Predator, sword on wrist blade. But I already went into the details of that in a Predator 2 commentary, so having spoken as much as I have about that, there's no reason to already go on about it. But Yeah, one
Calm
thing
down,
a lot of
Decker.
people said
Calm down.
about predators is that the so-called super predators are obviously very, very weak compared to the normal predators because
The combat
they
is
die
powerful,
off so
with Hanzo
easily.
and Birdie
And
striking at each other with all their strength.
I'm not
But
sure people
I am
understand the
little
concept of a
disappointed. This
90-minute
fight
movie,
scene is
but
about 25%
I
fighting
mean, that's
to
like saying that the
75%
aliens
posturing.
in
But who
Aliens are
cares?
so much
I
weaker than the aliens from
finally got a
Alien
Predator on
because
human
so
sword
many
on
aliens
first
in
wave
Aliens
fight
die
scene.
versus the one that spent the entire movie unable to be killed. But there's a difference with what kind of weapons the
Hanzo
people
deals a
have,
killing
what
blow,
kind of
but his
cover,
wounds are too great,
and of
he
course
falls
there's
from
the
combat.
demeanor of the
So this
predators
also
in
marks the first
question,
time that scene has ended without a trophy
whereas
being claimed.
the super predators do seem to be a lot
Edwin
more.
runs into trouble.
Oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Royce
They'll
tells
just
Isabel that they have to
they're,
leave if
they're
they want to survive,
braggarts,
and
and
Edwin
they
begs
will
them not
just
to abandon
rush
him.
in without caring.
Not the best way to try and keep
So,
yourself breathing in these kind of
Yeah, they're not
movies.
nearly as careful as the normal
Isabel
predators,
can't
so it
bear
would
to
make
leave a
sense
man
that they
behind,
would
and Royce
be at
heads off
greater
alone.
risk in certain areas. And yeah, I mean, people pick apart movies
Meeting
in
up
a
with
lot of
Clyde, Royce gives
ways.
him an ultimatum.
I really try
and sets
to
him free.
let the movie speak for itself, but at the same time understand that
While
it
this
is a
going
movie
on,
and
Isabel
certain
and
things
Edwin manage to find yet
just
another trap.
have to happen for the
The big city right there.
for it to be comprehensive on film.
After the first one,
And that doesn't excuse
shouldn't they have been watching
everything,
their
obviously.
step a
I
little
still
more?
pick apart
Yeah.
things that are done
So
just
Clyde
because
powers
it's a
up and
movie.
sets the ship on
But
course for Earth,
nevertheless,
decloaking it as well.
one has to
I'm on the
understand
hardcore roll today.
Larry
a lot
dumps
of
the two in the
things
pit and spots Clyde
regarding
while Royce
how
escapes.
a
The fight between
movie
classic
with
Predator
3
and Super Predator
antagonists
is pretty intense, with the
would,
two wrestling and using painful
would
brute force maneuvers
flow
against
versus
each
a
other.
movie with
But
one.
considering the size
So,
and
of
strength
course,
of a Predator, it doesn't
They,
surprise me they aren't
there will
jumping
be
around
points
like
where
Jackie Chan.
the others will die,
As the battle
so
ends,
having that
Larry
at all
gives us
in a
the
movie
classic unmasked
of
scene.
90 minutes to 2 hours, keeping the same length between movies, having the amount of protagonists and the amount of antagonists
I want to roll, I'll
increased.
tell you.
Of course, they're going to die at a
Back in the
much
pit, Edwin
faster
takes his
rate.
poisoned scalpel out and
That's
reveals his
just
true colors.
basic math there. But, oh well.
The monsters?
It was kind of surprising to me the first time I watched it. The
I'm normal.
doctor was quite as nasty as he was. As actually early in the film when I was
Okay,
first watching
I get it.
he was the
You're
one
a
I was
serial
most
killer, and it's
identifying
what you do.
with.
But do you really think you're
Is
gonna
kind of the
survive
normal
longer than
guy,
10
you would
seconds
think.
after you get out of the
The
pit?
turning point at the end was
Larry is too busy
actually
noticing
pretty
the ship's
surprising,
descent
but
and doesn't
him
appreciate
using the
other
poisoned
species touching
scalpel,
his thing.
not surprising at all. Anyone can tell from the scene earlier where he gets the poison on the scalpel that it was going to be used at another point. But, yeah, more Larry quotes here.
That wasn't very contrived at all,
This
was
is
it?
the point where, in my
Isabel,
review,
paralyzed from
my
the
jokes
neurotoxin,
just
is about to be
start.
cut apart by Edwin when
Well,
Royce pops
I
up in
don't
the
have
background.
any.
He helps him out of
Yeah,
the pit
I'm just
and doesn't
sort
fall
of
for Edwin's
summarizing at this point, which... I'm looking at it now.
bullshit. Then, over what has to be the
I
20 seconds
see
it took
where I
Larry to
could
walk
do
back,
plenty
he sets up a
with
huge,
humor,
elaborate
but
trap.
Okay.
really the only humor
Ooh,
left is
so, let's
what's
have a
coming out of Larry's mouth and what I'm splicing together to fit into
shit.
the events on screen. Though I still
Somehow,
really love
Larry's
how
hardly
that
phased at
came
all from
out.
the explosions, and Royce faces him.
And yeah, this also is just one of those things that really did bother me. This
are you
part where
asking
it's
me to
paying
kill
homage
you?
just really
Yes,
tries
in the original,
too hard.
That was a line Dutch had, but he was trying to get the Predator. Of
course, I go
into
into
a trap
Great
right there.
detail with that.
Come on.
Not sure if it was necessary to go into such huge
Here,
detail.
he's just getting
But
his attention.
nevertheless,
Why does he have to say
it
kill
was
me
something
except
that
for a
really did
cheap
bother
reference
me, and
to the
it's
original?
good to show
So
clips
Royce
from the
uses
other
an
movies
extensive
to
fire to confuse Larry
illustrate
as he beats
the
into
point.
him with an axe.
Not only can I not see you. No, no, no.
Larry
And,
switches into a heartbeat sensor, however, and pinpoints Royce.
Yeah, it's not like in the Soldier review where I went and
The battle quickly
slowed.
turns, but just when
I
things look like
really,
they're worse
really
for Royce,
screwed up in
Isabel
that
pulls
review
enough
and
strength
looking
to
back
land
at
a
it
bullet in
and
Larry,
going into
giving Royce
such
the opportunity
detail,
he needs to finish Larry off.
meticulously talking about such minor things
How big
as
are Larry?
the amount of bullets in the clip of an assault
The
rifle,
movie ends
of
on this note, with Royce and Isabella
nondescript
alive,
future
still
assault
trapped
rifle
on the
that
planet,
evidently
and
somehow I
no
know the
scene
amount of bullets in
dropping
that clip. And
So that was Predators.
it just
third movie in the Predator
really
series. Did it manage to live up to its
I
title? Well, I
spent
think
way
so.
too long talking about
it received
far
very
too
average
mundane
reviews on
crap in
release,
that review, and that
while I don't
always
disagree with all of them,
makes
I think
me
that a lot of the negativity
I learned
received
from that.
doesn't
Now
take into
I'm
account the
more
big
concerned
picture.
about
The characters are
not
stereotypical, yes,
being
that's
such
true.
a
But so were they
absolute-
in the first two Predator movies, and this one did let you see them interact long enough so you don't care about
what's
them.
the word I'm looking for? Oi.
A lot of
I mentioned
critics seem to
I'm
mistake
doing this
film
recording
as a
very
reboot
late
as
at
well,
night, and I'm tired.
And I can see where that would make a viewer
Oh, well.
annoyed, but it's not. It's a sequel. It does use a
Not,
lot of lines and scenes from the first
Oh,
one,
great.
so
Now I lost
understand
my
why
train of
that
thought
mistake
again.
could be
I'm really
made.
not very good at this, am I?
Overall, what I think about this movie is it was a fantastic
the,
recovery from the AVP
overall
movies, with
look
enough action
at
to keep you
the
interested while
movie by the
respecting
end.
source
It's
material,
something that
and
a lot of
especially the
reviewers
audience.
do, but I think it helps
But I honestly don't
keep
like
the
just how many lines or scenes are
review
straight out of the first
cohesive.
film.
And
I understand paying homage, and sometimes it works really well. But they do it so much, it comes
Yeah,
off like
just-
they were afraid this movie couldn't stand up on its own.
it's a
Which
lot
is
harder
such a
to
shame
edit,
because
of
what's
course,
new in this film is
because everything's all
fantastic.
out of place.
The
When
action
compared
is
to the
solid,
rest
but
of the
some
review,
obvious
this
CGI and
spot
slower scenes don't
takes
keep
a
it at as
long
high
time
level
to
as
put
the first
together.
Predator. So Predators
But
gets
nevertheless,
4 trophies out of 5
it's,
for action. But the surprises and suspense
it's
are used
usually
more
something that's
effectively
good.
overall,
Oh yeah,
in my opinion,
one thing
despite
that
not being the main
this one
focus,
was one of the ones
netting
where
this
I was
movie
doing
3 ugly
separate
motherfuckers out of 5
ratings
horror.
for
If you love the
the
first Predator and were okay with
horror
the second,
factor
but
versus
absolutely
the
hated
action
the AVP
factor,
movies,
and
avoided
that's
this one
something that
because
I've
of the mediocre
really thrown
ratings,
away
do yourself a favor and
with
give
my
it a
later
watch.
reviews. I just
To
do
me,
one
if it didn't
overall
spend way
rating,
too
though I
much
still
time
do
paying
a
homage
rating,
to
and I
the
want to
first,
keep
I would
doing a
easily rank
rating.
this as my favorite
But
Predator movie of the
if
whole
you want to hear
lot.
my
As
opinion
it
now
stands,
on
though,
Predators,
I'm having a very
I'd
hard time
say
deciding
it's a
between
good
this and the
4.
first.
And
It
that
is at
is
least the second
still
best
something
film,
that
well
I
worth reviewing.
question with
Thank you all
myself.
for
Is it
watching, and a
my
very special
favorite
thanks to
out of the
Guru Larry for
series?
allowing me to butcher his
That
videos for my own
shouldn't be
comedic
too
ends.
big of a surprise
I've
that I
been
like it as
Shado.
much as I do, and I'll still
Goodbye.
call it a 4. I mean, Soldier I absolutely loved, and I'll admit that that movie is a 4. It's not perfect. And, yeah. Yeah, there's a title card artwork link there. And I have the special thanks to Guru Larry, of course, and I have mentioned there's the text explaining where I got the sound clips, so that wasn't even required for me to bring up in the commentary, but oh well. It came up in the review, so I talked about it. That's just kind of how it goes. I stopped using so much poster art and other images in the openings because it really took a long time to track a lot of those pictures down, and then I was really worrying about whether or not I was going to get any of that. I was worrying whether or not I was going to be able to use some of those images legally, even though I was commenting on them. I mean, image is slightly different than video in some respects, because if you copy an image, then you copy the entire image, and that's one of the hairy places to step in copyright law. But oh well, the review is over, and I'm still rambling on, so thank you all for watching and listening, and I really hope that the documentary editing goes a lot smoother from this point out. Still a lot of stuff to do here, but trust me, I'm working on it. Thank you very much.